The Buffalo Sabres are proud to select Frölunda defenseman Rasmus Dahlin.
Rasmus Dahlin joins a couple of different clubs. Matt Sundin, the only other Swede to go first overall in the National Hockey League draft. And he is now the third player to be drafted first overall by the Buffalo Sabres. 1997, Pierre Turgeon, and 1970, Gilbert Perreault.
The Carolina Hurricanes select from the Barrie Colts, Andrei Svechnikov.
And as much as the Carolina Hurricanes have sort of put the NHL on notice with some rather unique approaches to the game, this is an about-face for the organization. Drafting a Russian. In the last, 20 years, they've taken one. The fewest of all.
From asset of the Finnish Elite League, Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
So they do go with the centerman. I'll just throw something at you here, Sam. If he ends up being Pierre-Luc Dubois, who didn't play coming out of the draft in his first opportunity, went back to junior, and then was one of the top rookies in the National Hockey League this year, playing #1 center spot.
Well, it worked out pretty good, and I think they'd be extremely happy if that were the case. And all the heat that Columbus took for taking Pierre-Luc Dubois at #3 when everyone thought it was going to be Jesse Puljujärvi.
The Ottawa Senators are extremely pleased to select from the Boston U Terriers, Brady Tkachuk.
And that's official. He beats his big brother.
And his dad, too. He'll be loving that.
The highest drafted Tkachuk is Brady. You know, and you talk about swagger, confidence, cockiness, whatever word you want to use, he's top of the charts in all of them.
The Arizona Coyotes are proud to select from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds of the Ontario Hockey League center Barrett Hayden.
Well, Phillip Zadina has slipped. That's a surprise. This is the exclamation point on that, going off the map.
Well, no question about it. And again, you have to think that there's some positional need there that they're talking about with Barrett Hayton. I love this guy in the top 10 and the top 12, no question. But this is a little higher than I expected.
The Detroit Red Wings select from Halifax of the Canadian Hockey League, Phillip Zadina.
Do you think that's a switch from where they came into this thing?
Absolutely, it's a switch.
Yes.
Kenny Holland told me yesterday they were taking a defenseman. Absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to run that clip from last week.
This is why you take the best player available. Your list, you say you need a D, you don't draft by position, you take the best player available.
Vancouver selects from the University of Michigan, Quinn Hughes.
But the other side of it is the August 15th problem. You draft a kid after 4 years after you draft him. It's more acute if you're drafting a kid from the USHL who's committed to go to college. 4 years after that draft pick, on August 15th, he can become an unrestricted free agent. So this is you've seen this happen with VC, you've seen it happen with Schultz. So that's the one good thing is you can send them down. The bad thing is they can walk.
And with our choice, 8th overall, the Blackhawks are proud to select from Brynäs in Sweden, Adam Boquist.
Another defenseman, another offensive guy. 25 games played, 14 goals. Junior in Sweden.
New York Rangers select from Tractor Chelybinsk, Vitaly Kravtsov.
Wow. Kravtsov goes at 9. We had him at 19.
Yeah, that's a bit of a reach there for me. I mean, Vitaly Kravtsov really made his name in the KHL playoffs. He had 11 points in 16 games and was playing about 13 minutes per game. But if you go back to where he was in the regular season, he was a guy who was playing about 9 minutes per game, and he was really tough to get a read on what he was all about.
And with our selection in the first round, we're proud to select from the London Knights, Evan Bouchard.
There you go. A London Knight has now been selected in every National Hockey League draft going back to 1967 with that pick. So just a little bit of OHL London Knight trip.
Gotta love that.
Yes, as a former London Knight, Louis DeBrusque.
Got the Oilers suit going already.
And on behalf of the Islanders, proud to select from the USA Hockey National Development Team Program, Oliver Wahlstrom.
Well, Louis, you were talking about watching video highlights. This kid is a YouTube machine.
He was. The Dangles goal that he scored, the lacrosse-style goal at the Boston Garden during a Boston Bruins game, was absolutely unbelievable. For, I believe, what was he, 9 years old at the time when he did it? And just incredible hands. But this is one of the guys in the draft, one of the top 3 shooters, and the guy that I think likes to shoot it the most. He loves to shoot the puck, and he has a heavy, heavy shot.
Islanders will select from Acadie Panthers defenseman Noah Dobson.
Guys, this is an absolute steal at 12. You know, every year there's usually one player that races up the draft list that came out of relatively nowhere. Last year that was Miro Heiskanen that ended up going 3rd to Dallas. We all thought that Noah Dobson would go higher, but this is a gift to the New York Islanders. He was a standout at the 100th MasterCard Memorial Cup.
With the 13th pick of the 2018 NHL Entry Draft, the Dallas Stars are proud to select from the Flint of the OHL, Ty Dellandrea.
Stars, a huge pick for the Dallas Stars. And it's back-to-back 53s. Noah Dobson just went a moment ago to the Islanders. He wears 53 for the Acadie Bathurst Teton. Number 53 on the Flint Firebirds is this young man, Ty Dellandrea.
From the U.S. National Team Development Program, Joel Farabee.
I knew it wasn't going to be a great year for the Western Hockey League in this first round of the National Hockey League draft, but Ron Hextall has dined out in the WHL, and even he goes to the U.S. National Program.
Yeah, and Ty Smith would be the guy that you're referring to from the WHL, who I thought would be the surefire first rounder, and the only one probably from that league. Alexander Alexiev, who plays for Red Deer, might be the other guy. But getting to Joel Farabee, this is a really good playmaking winger.
The Florida Panthers select from Yaroslava, Grigory Desenko. Dennis, oh, sorry.
Well, it wasn't a Bob Clark with, the flub, but this is a left winger, a little undersized at 5'11". Played around the lineup really in Russia.
We're proud to select from the Czech Republic, Martin Kaut.
Right winger, 6'2". And that defense, by the way, it's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
Like it's on a fast track.
Samuel Gerard, Makar. I mean, you look about Connor Timmins as well. Yeah. It's coming. There's no doubt about that. So going with a forward here is really not a surprise. But this guy really jumped off the page at the World Juniors for me.
With the first selection in the 2018 entry draft, the New Jersey Devils are proud to select Ty Smith.
Spokane Chiefs, Ty Smith, Saskatoon. Spent some time growing up in Lloydminster as well. Undersized, 5'10", 175, but was right on that bubble to be a top 10, so New Jersey grabs him at 17.
Yeah, I think they got to be really happy. And Berkey, you said it before this, there's going to be some guys on the list here that you saw, wow, this guy's rated a lot higher than we're not able to pick. And I think Ty Smith would fit into that category.
With the 18th pick, the Columbus Blue Jackets are proud to select from the London Knights, Liam Foudy.
Second London night to go in the first 18 selections. And the beat goes on. You talked about earlier Evan Bouchard moving up in the rankings because that team sold off players. Nobody jumped as high as Liam did.
No question about it. And it's very interesting to note that part of the management staff for the Columbus Blue Jackets is Basil McRae, and it was Basil McRae who was the general manager for the London Knights at the time they selected Liam Foudy.
The Philadelphia Flyers are proud to select from Thayer Academy, Jay O'Brien.
Center ice. This is a team that has a lot of centermen already. And part of the reason why Schenn was moved last year to St. Louis was they had too many centermen and picked up Nolan Patrick. So
yeah, I mean, Claude Giroux switched back and forth. Couturier had a breakout year at the center ice position, and you truly can never have enough centermen because it's much easier to adapt going from center to the wing than it is from the wing going to learn the center position.
From Karpat, Rasmus Kupari.
Another centerman. So just finish the story on.
Yeah, good to see Denny up there. You know, he's been battling cancer here for a little while. I know he got through one bout of treatments and came out of it well. He looks pretty good when I see him there. But I know one thing, this guy works extremely hard, and he has a really good connections in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and he's been leaned on by the LA Kings to do such a good job in that area, and he's done a wonderful job there because of his connections and because that guy is always in the rink.
San Jose selects from Guelph Ryan Berkeley.
Okay, my view of this is that this is a high-risk pick. I know at least 2 teams have told me they had Ryan Berkeley as a player they would not consider in any round. In other words, a DND guy, a do not draft list. Not to be too hard on the kid. He's elite in every area, skating, passing, shooting, but his lack of commitment to defense and his basically perceived uncoachability makes him a real liability.
Ottawa trades the 22nd pick in the 2018 NHL Draft to the New York Rangers for picks number 26 and 48 in this year's draft.
New York Rangers select from the USA Development Program, Keandre Miller.
Now this is a popular pick.
It sure is. And you cannot capture any emotion better than that. Just giving his mother, Amy, so much credit for raising him. At points, there was time where she was selling her own goods in order for her son to be able to play the game. This is an awesome story, and I love this pick. It's not out of reach here. This guy has got unbelievable upside.
From Luleå of the Swedish Elite League, Isaac Lundström.
What? Just got out of the way. There was no messing around there.
Thought he was Tim Murray there for a second.
Or Brian Burke.
There right away. So, I'm a little surprised. This is another centerman. And I didn't expect this to happen tonight, with centermen going neck and neck with defensemen in this first round.
Yeah, and that just shows how much of a premium teams put on that position. But I had this guy actually going a pick earlier to that time Ottawa.
From Leksand, Sweden, Phillip Johansson.
This one is off the board, but think about Paul Fenton and the Nashville Predators. What did they do so well? All the time.
Develop defensemen.
They very rarely missed on developing defensemen, and when they did, they traded him to get a center, as in Seth Jones. But Johansson was a guy who started to get a lot of late love when it came to National Hockey League scouts. Most everyone I talked to didn't have him inside the first round, but they had him vaulted up considerably from where they had him at the midterm. So to see him go here is a bit of a surprise to me, but you can see he's got decent size, and he's more of a safer bet as a two-way defenseman here. A really interesting pick here, and definitely off the board for the Wild.
We have a trade. Toronto trades the 25th pick in this year's draft to St. Louis in exchange for picks number 29 and 76.
St. Louis Blues are proud to select from Vaxo, Sweden, forward Dominic Bach.
That's your guy, Louis.
It's my guy. That was my sleeper here in this draft. I just, for me, he jumps off the screen at you, watch him play, and he has that wicked wrister and a great one-timer and another right-handed shot forward. I expected him to go in the first round. I think it's a good pick by St. Louis.
Again, every scout that I talked to loved the speed, loved the skill, super, super high end, and in fact, a lot of people had him inside of 15.
The Ottawa Senators are pleased to select from the Alberta Junior League Okotoks, Jacob Bernard Docker.
So it fits to the speculation as far as dropping back with your second pick and reaching a little bit. But this is a league that's produced defensemen.
Blackhawks are proud to select from Drummondville, Nicholas Bowden.
Well, I think that's going to break the heart of the Montreal Canadiens. I think the sneaking suspicion that with Dominic Ducharme, who coached Bowden in Drummondville, they were hoping maybe to grab him with one of their second-round picks. I was pretty confident he wouldn't be there at 35, and I jockeyed back and forth in and out of the first round with this player.
New York Rangers select from Luleå in the Swedish Hockey League, Niels Lundqvist.
5'11" defenseman.
Another right-handed Swedish defenseman. Sorry, we just saw Johansson go to the Minnesota Wild, and now another one here that, again, I think plays a more polished game. Boquist was the one right-handed D that was taken early that had that amazing upside, but he's a little bit of a gamble. This guy here, a more solid D that plays a real sound defensive game, and his offensive game started to come later in the year.
With the 29th selection in the 2018 NHL Entry Draft, the Toronto Maple Leafs are proud to select from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, Rasmus Dahlin.
Wow.
Going back home.
Amazingly, a small puck-moving defenseman.
Just what we talked about.
And goes to his familiar grounds here.
Yeah, the Sault Ste. Marie grounds. I mean, you're going to get the most intimate knowledge of this player. You're talking to Kyle Raftis, the general manager at Sault Ste. Marie, the recently departed Drew Bannister, who's left for the American Hockey League.
Detroit Red Wings are proud to select from Drummondville, Joe Veleno.
He was sweating it out over there, Mighty Joe. I mean, everyone had him picked in the middle part of this draft.
Center iceman. There's some size, 6'1".
I like this pick. This kid was a captain at 17. He's got leadership skills. He's got good speed. He works hard. I think he's going to play. I think this is a really good pick at 30.
Washington Capitals are very proud to select from the Red Deer Rebels of the Western Hockey League, Alexander Alexiev.
Another
final
pick
pick
for
of the
you.
first round, yeah.
And finally for you, Berkey, a big defenseman. Almost 6'4".
Yep, 6'4". He had an injury this year. I think he would have been higher in this draft. At one point, I had scouts telling me to take him at 10 or 12, but he missed a bunch of games. His mom passed away. He had to deal with that. Had a tough year that way, but this is a big guy that moves the puck well. He's a two-way player. Nothing fancy, nothing upside offensively. He's a 3-4, but I like this pick. I like this player.